step in, okay?
Sure. All right, so we are live. So Atlas, when you last left the party, you almost shot Elise in the head with a flare gun. You stabbed Isaac in the stomach. You tried to wrestle Revy. Uh, I think you left Val alone though. I think.
I yeah, because who attacks Val?
I think Val's the reason you did all of that, but fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. Val's the linchpin to everything.
Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't until you saw the darkness in Val that you were like, whoa, I can't trust these people.
Before that.
It's true. You never trusted anybody anyway. Hey everyone. So after everyone went their own way and you went your own way, you were pretty deep in thought, right?
I was. We did walk towards the forest.
Yeah, you were actually so deep in thought that as you walked into the forest, you didn't quite notice it bend around you until you were in a very familiar forest. You were.
I was just gonna keep walking. Just he realizes that which forest he is in, but he's just gonna just keep walking while observing the scenery.
You notice that you're on a forest path. Now, it doesn't necessarily seem like it was made by humans, but it's definitely nice for you to traverse, and I assume you stay on it instead of trying to make your way through thickets and whatnot, especially knowing that you even got lost in this forest last time.
I was probably go into the thicket and avoid the path, since if it's a path, that means it's regularly used, and regularly used means people, and he'll avoid people.
So, when you go into the thicket, how do you take care of the plants blocking your path?
He'll start by looking at what the plants are, and then slowly move the plants to the side as he's trying to squeeze himself between the plants before moving on. Trying not to damage as much plants or showing as much signs of someone passing by.
So as you're gentle with the plants, it almost feels easier for you to push them to the side. There's less resistance. They don't spring back as much. You're able to make your way through the thicket. Past the thicket, there is a bit of a clearing for you to travel through. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
As in clearing, is it a field, or is it just just a patch of clearing?
It's more like you're still clearly within the forest. It's just the trees are a bit more separated. You're no longer forced on a singular path.
Atlas is probably just gonna seeing that it has a serene feel for him, being surrounded by nature, away from everything. He's just gonna sit down in the middle of that clearing and then start just drawing in his notebook.
Alright. And, give me a perception roll. Do.
15.
15. Could be worse. It's
My eyesight got better, okay?
mildly. So it's not for a while, but you do eventually hear footsteps behind you, pretty close, honestly. And Rain, obviously, you awoke from the hospital to just kind of find yourself in this forest.
Makes sense. I mean, compared to everything else, feels like I've been home for months now. What happened?
Oh, in fact, with you, Rain, you'd also recognize this forest as when you came to the digital world, you actually got stuck in this forest for quite some time.
Motherfucker!
Rain, I'll also take a perception check from you.
Alright, let me, 21.
21. So, you actually don't have much trouble noticing the person on the ground next to what I assume is a giant mushroom drawing in a book. And Atlas, not long after hearing the footsteps, you just hear a motherfucker.
The moment I hear that, I just close the book and I start bolting into the forest like a rabbit.
Oh wait, I'm stuck with the berries. Wait, I might as well bring them out. Maybe once I find my group again, I can bring them with me. Maybe.
Mushmon's still in the middle of the
I
circle.
might know what to do with them.
So, Mushmon didn't run away with Atlas?
No, Mushmon's like still like he's still sleeping. So when Atlas left, Mushmon just like toppled over, and it's just like rocking a little bit. So he's just like deeply asleep.
So, there's still a giant mushroom where the boy was.
So I go up and try to ask about it. Yeah, excuse me. Are you that guy's partner? Partner Digimon?
I don't know what's God. Okay.
What? I couldn't hear you.
Mushmon's still asleep.
Nice. Right. I decided not to wake it up this time, and I follow after the other human off into the woods, at least to try to keep him from running into any trouble.
Okay.
Did the clear have tall grass?
There'll be portions with tall grass.
Okay. So, like, as Mushmon's still sleeping, he does like a weird turn, and he just like rolls into tall grass, and gets tickled with it and sneezes, and he'll just release his psychospore.
Oh my god. By the way, Rain, you do have Gatomon with you. But
Gatomon holds out their gun and just shoots Mushmon. And then
so, Atlas, did you say that Mushmon is doing an attack?
Unintentionally, yes.
Well, roll for it. Well, Rain, both you and Gatomon roll that dodge. And what's this spore's effect, Atlas?
It does confusion.
that was 2 success. Brain is definitely not making it out of this one.
and Gatomon? 3, 4. So, you both are pretty confused. I think it's appropriate to say like that you feel like you're on shrooms.
Yeah, so basically, Rain just sees like
As if I wasn't
fairies
already.
everywhere, but the fairies all look like Rain. They all look like herself, just fluttering around.
Oh God, I don't know. That might be a nightmare for Rain.
It's so psychotic. And then Gatomon just sees like fish just floating around, and then like metal cans just eating it, turning into cat food.
Metal cans. I like it. Metal cans eating the flying fish, turning it into cat food. So, how do you feel about your fever dream, Rain? Or rather, how does Rain feel about her fever dream?
I think I need to sit down. I don't like this. I don't like this one. Wait.
And does Gatomon like the cans of cat food?
Gatomon is just waving their paws at nothing right now. In just regular cat fashion.
Fair enough. But Atlas, as you
Atlas is actually like hiding in a bush. Like as he ran away, he just hid.
oh,
He saw the whole incident happen.
does he
And
feel
he's just like,
does he feel guilty?
he doesn't?
No.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know them, and honestly, he doesn't trust anyone. So he's just like watching them.
So you just said that because Atlas doesn't know them, he doesn't have to feel guilty.
Exactly. I don't know them. I don't trust them because I don't know them. Therefore, I'm not guilty. I don't feel guilty.
I don't know if it works that way, but okay.
It's Atlas logic that you cannot understand.
He had a very fucked up backstory clearly that stuck in his sense of empathy. Like,
Oh, before we go on, someone in chat who's watching Is there bad reverb from them? I'm not wearing my headphones because they died.
I don't really notice. All I can hear is bird.
Me neither.
Shut up.
The bird adds to the forest atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the toucan mons. But yeah,
Watching
Atlas will start moving forward as he sees Rain and Galgamon just mentally breaking down or being half a little kitty about their little psycho experience.
And Atlas is moving forward towards them.
Well, he kind of want to get Mushmon away from them, so he kind of has to. But he does it like slowly.
I'm just stumbling back, trying to get back into fresh air to hopefully recover as fast as possible.
Fair enough. Meanwhile, Gatomon sees the biggest fish approaching you guys.
Obviously, they pounce.
Give me an attack roll from Gatomon. Atlas, give me a dodge roll. This is already gone completely sideways.
Very much so.
Atlas,
Oh, well, anyway.
what kind of roll is that?
Balls right now, and it has no sense of coordination.
Meanwhile, Atlas is turned into some kind of ballerina getting... God, is that 6 successes off of 9 rolls? Jesus. But, so, Atlas, you managed to...
It's a dodge experience that you practice and learn from last session.
Oh, man.
But yeah, he dodges the Gatomon like with these ninja style, just like flow up water, just have it slide through him.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, he reaches Mushmon. But as he grabs Mushmon's hand, Mushmon wakes up and just like scares Atlas.
So, what does Mushmon do as he wakes up?
He just wakes up. He stands right up, like immediately, like Undertaker style. Just like sits right up to his feet in like a fluid motion. Atlas just freaks out, gets scared, falls over.
So as you fall over, Rain, you start to come to your senses, but it's hard to say if you are not, as a green horse walks up to you. It seems a little wet and kind of nudges you to see if you want to get on to go for a ride.
Probably. Sorry. Just cleared up. Nice.
So did you tell the horse no?
Yeah, I don't know.
And with your indecision, the horse lets out a sigh and slowly walks over to Atlas and nudges Atlas a little bit. Atlas, do you want to get on the wet green horse?
No.
Well, it's not
Yeah,
going
I'm
anywhere.
still pretty. Yeah, I'm still pretty sure that it's just an elaborate hallucination while I'm struggling to figure out what's real and what's not.
Well, the horse does eventually give up and wander back into the woods. Why don't you want to ride the horse, Atlas?
It's frightening. It just showed up out of nowhere.
You're in a forest, Atlas.
Yeah, there usually are no horses in a forest.
Yeah, I've done enough mythological research to know that those things are not good news. They'll probably drown you. Or something.
We're not near water, so kelpies should be in the forest.
Um,
Oh, look at you two bonding over mythological creatures.
It was just like,
hey, I'm a nerd. Give me a break. Shut up, Aster. I need something. Think about to keep myself sane.
why? It's common knowledge. Kelpies prefer to attack near the water. Easier for them to drown you.
Exactly.
Why didn't you get on this horse?
Oh, I should mention,
Because I have like no sense of balance right now because I'm currently under the effects of your mushroom Digimon. Sorry. I mean, where'd Pokemon go? Stupid fish. Oh my god. Claws. Boy, Rain, what's up? Oh. It's the greasy, ugly kid.
Who are you calling Gracie? This guy is not greasy. He's sometimes smelly, but he likes it. I like it. It brings a lot of food.
Sorry. Oh, Pokemon. They're just like that.
I'm sorry about much fun. He's like that.
speaking of Mushmon and Gatomon, can I get perception rolls from both of them? Digimon perception is garbage, but let's see what we get.
It's a good thing I have Tracker.
Digimon champion rookie champ perception is garbage.
Oh, let me grab the handbook again. I forgot what Tracker did. Does it double or +2 or what? Hold on, give me a second. Utility qualities.
Yeah, trackers are +4 if for hidden traps or enemies. Mushmon also has with us one.
Uh,
And Atlas.
I'm making it.
Well, Gatomon got a good roll.
Spell the Big Bang.
Well, Gatomon more so than Mushmon, but even Mushmon, both catch the very strong whiffs of delicious food nearby.
Oh, it was food? I should have had advantage. It's Mushroom.
But regardless, Mushmon smells it too. Apple pie whiffs into their nose.
Cartoonishly floating.
Mushroom has like that cartoony float following the smell.
And Gatomon.
Sorry about that. I'm back now.
All good. How does Gatomon react to the apple pie smell?
Well, Altamon just kind of stalks off to investigate, and Rain notices, and hey, where are you going?
Atlas sees Mushroom.
Jackie,
Well,
for
we-
Atlas sees Mushmon, so Atlas does what?
Atlas is sort of just gonna like follow Mushroom just because he's kind of worried if he might lose himself along the way, like get lost.
I also have to keep my cat out of trouble. Who knows what they're gonna do?
Keep the cat in the bag.
So, you guys...
How's the bag? It's an Uber.
It really is almost just a cat version of Atlas. But, so, as you guys follow your Digimon, you do see them, like, disappear behind a bush for a moment, but it doesn't take you long to get through the bush. And when you do, you see a white picket fence covered in vines, and the Digimon are staring at... Well, Rain, you might feel like you're still under the effects of the mushroom as you see a very large five-legged bull with wings and a human head staring back at them.
What's that Digimon supposed to look like? I'm sorry. I'm still kind of woozy right now.
Atlas?
Atlas follows Mushroom. So
And when he does, he sees Mushmon staring at this five-legged winged bull with a human head on the other side of a white picket fence.
I was just gonna stare at it, grab Mushroom's hand, and slowly back away.
I just kind of pick up Gatomon, who is currently on hunting mode, trying to get pie still, and just kind of grab them by the sides and carry them off, even though they're like very reluctant to be picked up. Hissing and all sorts of profanities.
Mushmon is like trying to like go against Atlas and trying to push through, but you know Atlas is pretty much a built-in rock, so Mushmon's not moving anywhere.
So, as you guys are struggling to hold your Digimon back,
Who said Atlas is struggling?
the
To my French combination.
the winged creature is simply going to turn and walk off, and you'll hear a deep "You may enter" come from it as it does.
Enter what now?
No thanks.
Yeah, that's definitely a trap waiting to happen. There's also a hell of a good bait in there. Not too long.
Can I at least have a slice of pie? Which pie?
So,
Yeah, I didn't get to eat that guy over there who's stealing my fashion sense.
so as you're arguing, you see a white cat jump on the fence and stare at you guys before scratching itself and wandering back to one of the windows of a small little cottage and nibbling on some pie.
Bitch. Please.
Mushmon sees the white cat nibbling at the pie. He goes, "That's why." And he digivolves into Woodmon.
And what does he do as Woodmon?
Woodmon just grows bigger, so Atlas has trouble holding onto his arm. So now Mushmon just charges into the fence and goes for the pie.
The cat, which by the way is a very normal cat, it's not a Gatomon, it's just a very human-like cat, hisses at the tree approaching before jumping into the cottage and leaving the slice of pie.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's
He's not Cherrymon.
the stump.
Even worse.
Mushmon just starts eating the pie.
Gatomon jumps down from Rain's arms and also joins in the pie eating.
So as they fight
What's in here?
as they fight over a single slice of pie, the door to the round cottage opens up, and a beautiful young woman that both of you are fairly familiar with comes out. Oh my, I thought I heard a commotion out here. Are both of you that hungry?
Maybe.
I'm always hungry.
I don't like it. Oh, No, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing your speakers right now at Aster. I think.
Okay, let's see if these headphones charged at all. But yes, as for
Thing. Testing. Alright, that's better.
where you guys would recognize her, Rain, this is the woman who, when you were trying to go to the mountains, she told you it was dangerous and to please just rest where you were. And Atlas, this is the woman who helped you, there we go. Yeah. The lady you thought was Arukenimon? I suppose. There is one of those in every Digimon season, but maybe. But the lady will true, true. But the lady will let both Gatomon and Woodmon know that there is plenty more food inside if they'd like it. And then she'd look over and notice both of you standing outside of her fence. Well, you don't have to go. Would you at least like to stay for some food? All right. Well, both life and death are two sides of one coin, but I don't think yours is flipped just yet. And she'll walk back inside the cottage where Gatomon and Woodmon are. Fair enough. So Gatomon and Mushmon step out of the cottage for a moment to try to encourage you guys to come in. The food does look delicious, and by this point you can both smell it very vividly. So he goes in to fight Mushmon? So, Rain enters, Atlas. You go in. Uh, and what did you say you were doing with Mushmon? You're just gonna pick him up and leave? Fair enough. So, Alice, Alice enters, grabs Mushmon and leaves. But as you go in, Rain, uh, the woman returns to the stove and is cooking more food. At, and the inside of the cottage is quite beautiful. You see a red and black cat sleeping, as the white cat just kind of moseys around the cottage. Quite an interesting fellow, that boy in orange. Well, they do say that some souls are connected. Or maybe there's not that many souls at all. It's hard to say. Would you like some food? Uh, so as you ask, the woman goes from happily cooking food to slowly coming to a stop. That's a very good question. You know, names are very important for people like us, but some. No, no. It's more like time and time and the human spirit took them. I... Oh, that's interesting. Ba.
Just you talking and
No,
reacting and then not hearing us.
no, I think what ended up happening is when I swapped it to the headphones, that's probably they can probably hear you now, by the way. I'm
Audio
assuming.
audio
Um
hiccups happen at the absolute worst times, don't they?
something like that. But you could say time took our names. I wish I could at least remember the names of my family. She would say, looking towards the cats.
Not a thing I've forgotten. I don't know how long it's been since I've been here. It's 2 years.
Um,
I'd rather not think about it.
yeah, it's probably been about a year since you guys have arrived in the digital world, but so as you're talking, and Alice, as you're walking out of the cottage and trying to leave the fence holding Mushman, you see a small child, probably like 6 or 7, running into the cottage. And Rain, you quickly see this small child, and they're laughing and hopping and skipping around and jumping around the table.
Yeah, I do get a bit startled at first, and end up jumping.
Atlas also gets startled by the little child, and like it loosens its grip on Mushmon, and Mushmon runs back into the cottage.
Um,
That's one way to get the party back together.
and the child quickly takes some candy from one of the bowls before running out, and the lady
The
turns.
candy.
How many times have I told you not to come barging in like that?
Mushmon follows the kid to the candy bowl.
And the kid quickly runs out, but Rain, I'll take a perception check from you. Atlas, you can give me one as well.
Perception? Alright.
Yep.
For Atlas,
Yep.
Your mic's cutting out a bit.
Yep, one for Atlas as well. Okay, Atlas, you don't notice anything. Not much is new there, but Rain, you do pick up on the fact that there's something off about the child. Not necessarily in their physical appearance, but for as much as they're like jumping and skipping around, you can't really hear their footsteps at all. And the child, I don't want to say they look familiar, but they do have striking white hair. But that's about all you pick up before they leave the cottage again. And Atlas, they'll soon run past you and out the fence.
it's the baby Val.
Baby Val.
Plot twist is the kid that's the Digimon.
Plot twist, it's actually Mushmon that's Lucimon right now.
It's actually Lucimon.
And it's Aster.
But the woman will simply scratch her head. Ah, children.
What? You sound kinda gargly right now.
Ah, I'm gonna go turn off the AC.
Alright.
Yeah. They were brushing their teeth. Yeah.
I'm gonna take this.
Alright, so while Rain is on the phone, Mushmon, here's the lady. Scratch her head. Children. Atlas?
Atlas is just like still frozen in the yard for a bit. Mushmon's inside eating the bowl of candy.
Okay, so, I should probably, I should probably leave now.
Alright, so Rain takes her leave from the cottage for now.
Yeah. I've had enough, philosophizing about the flow of time and being worn down by eternity or whatever.
Well, I hope you look in your travels.
It was nice to talk again.
Yep, you'll be back soon enough.
Until next defeat.
Alright. Revy watching at the restaurant. Alright, Atlas, so Mushmon is now smashing some food in the cottage. You're kind of frozen by a small child. The small child is enough to scare Atlas.
Pretty much. Alice is frozen because, one, it's a white-haired kid. It's like all of the ghosts, all of the grudge things, Lucamon, Val, all of that combined into a scary kid.
Scary kid. Well, luckily the scary child has left Atlas.
Yeah, but he's still a little frozen because he still had to run back outside. So, but he's slowly like moving towards the cottage to get Mushmon back. Mushmon's inside, just looking around. It's like, where are we?
Well, right now you're in my cottage, but you both found yourselves in the Faewilds.
How did we get here? We're like in a graveyard, and we walked. Now we're here.
Well,
It's familiar.
these wilds weren't always connected to this world, but now that they are, just like they were in the human world, you can find yourself here when you need to be.
So if I'm ever hungry, I can come back here.
Of course. Now, I do have a lot to do, but there should always be food at the table for you.
Mushmon's gonna try it out. He's gonna run out into the forest, only to walk right back in. It's true.
So he like ran straight out, but then turned around and came back in. It's like, it didn't go away.
Pretty much. And as Mushmon ran right back in, Atlas is at the door.
So the woman will smile at Mushmon and Atlas. Feel free to make yourselves at home. The wilds can be dangerous if you don't know how to approach them. But I have a lot of chores to take care of outside.
Can Atlas look around and see what's in the cottage?
Are are you asking in third person or
I'm like, Atlas is just gonna like panoramic view the entire cottage, so he's gonna look at what it holds in general.
There'll be a nice little bed, a library, there'll be a wood stove, sink, standard amenities. There'll be 3 cat beds. You'll notice that there were nameplates on them, but they've all been worn to a point that they're unrecognizable.
I know this person. It's Revy. We have 3 cats.
Oh my god. You'll also notice a small little house placed on top of what looks like a clothes dresser, and you'll be able to, through the window, see another woman working out back.
Atlas is just gonna look outside and then slowly make his way to the library.
As you look outside, along with the woman out back, you'll see somewhat, not too large, but like a medium-sized stable in the back that the lady who helped Atlas is making her way towards. Various fruit and vegetable crops, along with other greenery, and you'll of course see the white picket fence surrounding the place.
And what about the library?
Library might be an overstatement, but it is certainly a nice collection of books within perhaps 2 or 3 bookshelves, which within the cottage takes up almost an entire wall.
Atlas is going to do a proper scan of every single book on that shelf.
None of them have titles on the binder.
Then he starts reading them. He starts opening them, going through pages, see what each one contains.
Roll me 1d6 real quick.
Just a plain D6.
Just a plain d6.
How boring.
Alright, now roll me 3d6. Alright. So, that woman you've seen outside of the cottage, as you get invested in your book and start spending a decent amount of time reading it, you lose track of time, and it almost feels like you dissociate for a moment as a hand quickly places itself on the book in front of you and closes the book.
Atlas just looks up at whoever the hand's connected to.
And not as you look, but as you sort of kind of come back to your senses, you feel very exhausted. Take 10 points of damage. And this damage isn't altered by your armor. Just 10 points of straight damage.
Ow.
And the woman will look at you and look at the book, hold the book in front of you, and shake her head with a worried expression before putting it back on the shelf. And she'll look back at you and she looks very concerned, like she wants to tell you something but doesn't know how to convey it.
What?
She'll think for a moment, and then she'll hold out her hand to you, as if she's asking for your hand.
Atlas is gonna like pull himself back a bit, but he'll feel like something's drawing him to reach out, and he just grabs hold of the hand.
And when Atlas grabs her hand, she'll smile and nod, and then she'll turn to the bookshelf and hold her hand out, and a book will fall into her hand, and she'll turn to Atlas and show him that it's a book on housekeeping before closing the book and putting it back on the shelf.
Atlas sees where she would have put back the book on housekeeping, and somehow gets attracted to it.
So, do you pull out the book that she just put back?
I mean, he won't do it immediately. He's just gonna be staring at it, just trying to figure out if it's worth reading it or not. Because he just feels like attached to the book for some reason.
The woman is staring at you nervously before she starts to pace and prepare tea.
Mushmon's just gonna like trottle his way to Atlas. He's like, "Are there any good books to eat?" Atlas just is like blankly staring at, still looking at the book. He goes like, "Knowledge is the best hunger," and he goes for the book.
So as he goes for the book, the woman that prepared the food and whatnot enters the house with big rubber gloves and an apron on. She's covered in mud, dirt, and debris, and she's wiping some sweat off her brow. Oh my, what? Why is May in such a fuss? And the other woman will go up to her and point at Atlas and make a reading motion. And she'll just turn to you to see what you have to say.
Atlas is basically being disconnected from everything but the book. He ends up pulling out his like music player and puts on his music list and starts listening to music while reading, like speed reading the book.
So Mushman grabbed the book and gave it to Atlas?
Now Atlas, like in his eyes, he kind of just like it kind of like just glistened, and then he just lunged at the book and started reading. Mushman just stares at, he's trying to like get Atlas back to his senses, but he can't.
Atlas, roll another d6. Three. So, take 3 points of damage, but also gain 1 point. Gain 1 free point in survival as you read and comprehend a little bit about the Faewilds. Just a little bit, but it's very painful before the woman closes the book.
How do I do a free point? Like a free stat boost?
Well, you technically don't, but you can gain that much experience. I'll allow it.
Okay.
Alright, so how does Atlas react as he has another book closed on him?
This time Atlas like topples over like a just like a raggedy doll. Like he's sitting down, but the moment the book leaves his hands, he just like um, ragdoll to the ground.
The woman will hold on to the book with a slightly worried expression. Oh my, child of two bodies and one soul, are you okay?
Atlas is just like completely dazed for a bit, just staring at the ceiling. And he's just like, what what happened?
Oh dear child. The Faewilds are a dangerous place for humans, especially those that don't follow the rules. And she'll put the book back on the shelf. I think you should get some rest, but if you'd like to help me with chores tomorrow, I can help you exist in this place a little bit better.
As she says to get some rest, Atlas just passes out right then and there. He just doesn't move. Mushmon's just gonna look and goes like, "Got any free beds?"
Oh my. The woman will ask May to carry Atlas to the only bed in the cottage and let
Mushmon's just gonna be like, I got it," and he just picks up Atlas and carries him to the bed.
and
As he's walking to the bed, he goes like, "I better have a free pie when I get it back."
have a free what?
A free pie.
And as Mushman sets Atlas in the bed, the sunlight filtering through the window starts to dim as night falls, and he'll notice the white cat make its way to one of the cat beds as the sleeping black cat stretches and gets up. And eventually morning will come, and Atlas, give me a perception check. Yeah, you don't really notice why, but in your sleep, you start to feel like you're suffocating, like some woolly mammoth is crushing your face and you can't breathe.
Atlas starts to like fight the suffocation, tries to push it off his face.
And you feel blades sinking into your flesh in your dream on your face.
The moment he feels that, Atlas just wakes up.
And he sees that he is trying to throw a red cat.
As he's sitting in the bed, he just holds the red cat and just stares at it, and then, like, slowly drop it beside the bed.
It hisses at Atlas a little bit before walking away. And the woman will be knitting on a chair by Atlas. Oh, good, you're up. Did you want to stay here for a while and assist me with chores, or do you want to take your leave?
Can I stay?
Well, I don't see any reason why not.
What do you need to do?
Well, before that, I suppose it's been rather rude of me. What is your name, young boy? Young man?
I'm Atlas.
Atlas. What a strong name. You should cherish it. Anyway, before chores, we should have breakfast and gain our energy for the day. And there'll be waffles and pancakes and bacon and orange juice and
Mushmon already eating at the table.
and Mushman already eating at the table and morning mushrooms. Is that cannibalism?
No, there are mushrooms do eat mushrooms. There are mushrooms that eat mushrooms. It's a cycle of life.
It doesn't change. But anyway.
Before all that, Atlas is just gonna like stop and goes like, "But what's your name?"
I wish I knew, but I'm just a traveler. The only thing I know is that I'm able to make decent food here, help out around this house, and help out young travelers like yourself. And that little ghost boy who visits every day.
And what about the other one? As he points to the other woman, the other person in the cabin.
Oh, May? You don't have to worry about her. She's simply a house sprite. She enjoys taking care of the house and whatnot. I suppose me and her are so different. However, as far as conversations go, don't expect too much from her. She's a smart one, but she doesn't have a voice.
May is a silky?
Yes, that's correct.
I was just gonna get out of bed and slowly walk towards the kitchen.
It'll be a short walk, but
Yeah, you still walk to the kitchen.
yep.
He goes like, "Good morning, May," and then sits down at the table.
And
Mushmon's just staring at the entire scene, dumbfounded that he stopped eating,
and
then started eating again.
along with Mushmon slamming food, there'll also be the small child with white hair slamming food.
Aloes is still scared of the ghost child, but he'll look more at him. Is there any defining traits that he can see from it?
Its hair is a bit messy, somewhat long though. Right. It's very slightly transparent. You wouldn't notice that it's actually a ghost if you weren't staring very hard. But give me a perception roll to see how much more you can notice. God, I feel like this is an abusive relationship with you and perception rolls, though. 15.
I mean, you've canonized that I have horrible eyesight. And it's not my fault you have a high standard bar for perception.
High standard? You have a perception of 4. But,
And
with 15, you will notice that the laughter and everything that the child produces is slightly delayed, but also that it has yellow eyes. And as it finishes its food, it does run out of the cottage once more.
he just watches the little ghost child run out, and then he'll start eating.
And the woman, the caretaker of the cottage, we'll call her Ramen. The caretaker of the cottage will eat with Atlas, but once she's done eating, she'll let you know that she has chores to attend to, but she'll also give you a list of chores to take care of. And she'll let you know to be diligent in following the instructions. And on it, it will have exact minutes for when to do each thing. And how to do it. For instance, at exactly 12 noon, you are to pull the weeds, but before you do, you are to dump an entire pot of water on each weed and then pull it immediately after. And that at 1 o'clock, you are to feed the white kitten. At 2:37, you are to feed the alicorns in the stable. And later on in the day at 8:42, you are to feed the winged bulls once the alicorns go to sleep. Man, I had good ramen not too long ago. But anyway.
I was just gonna take note of his chores and he'll start prepping for each one of them.
Alright. So, Atlas, what do you do at noon?
At noon, he goes out, he grabs a bucket of water, dumps it over weeds and pull them out.
Alright,
He does that.
give me an agility check. Whew.
That's a horrible roll.
That is a horrible roll. So after you dump water on the first weed, your hand actually slips the first 3 times you try to pull it out. Do you dump another bucket on the weed, or do you try to grip it firmly and pull it out a 4th time?
I end up putting another bucket of water and then pulling it out again, as I'm supposed to dump a bucket of water and pulling out immediately. And since I failed to do so the first 3 times, instead of doing a 4th time when it's fully dried, I dumped another bucket so I could remove it.
So when you pull the weed out the 4th time and you are able to grip it, you actually see there's a face on the root and it's gagging profusely before it withers and dies.
Atlas sees them and he puts them to the side and he goes, "Smart way for handling mandrakes." And he begins doing to the next weed and the next weed.
And after pulling the weeds, what does Atlas do next?
Well, what time is it?
Well, that's actually a good question. If it happens to pass 102, do you stop pulling weeds?
If it's past 102 and I'm still not done pulling the weeds, Atlas will temporarily stop the weeds so he can go do his next chore and then go back to do the weeds.
Gotcha. And what was that next chore?
Fuck. I think was feeding the white kid.
Is that what you go and do?
Yes.
Alright, you lay down the food as the red cat ends up going to sleep and the white cat gets up and starts eating its food happily.
Atlas goes back to handling the weeds.
And the weeds don't take you much longer. And you see May come by and collect the mandrake roots and take them to the kitchen. And about what time do you go feed the alicorns?
I think it was 2:37.
Let's see. I'm not going to be too strict, but what I will do is... Crap, this isn't the right browser. I'll just open a random sheet. Doesn't matter which one. Give me a knowledge roll. I almost thought it was the 13 for a second, and I was like, did you roll in the negatives? 26. Yeah, so you remember when you're supposed to feed the alicorns, and you see the winged black bulls sleeping on the other side. And later in the day, you're also able to feed the black bulls. And once you finally finish, you walk inside and you see the caretaker of the cottage preparing dinner. Oh, you finally finished your tasks?
All done.
You
As
were
he says it, exhausted.
You were very diligent. What a good child. And much like you did with these chores, you'll find that the Faewilds and the creatures around are much the same. As long as you know how to approach each one and handle them with care and respect, you should be safe.
Okay. And Atlas then goes to sit by the library, but his back is facing the books, and he starts writing down in his notebook what he just did, like what he learned, like how put pour water over mandrakes to have to drown them and all that.
As you write down your notes, the woman would giggle just a little bit. Were this another time and another story, I do believe you'd make a wonderful mage.
Atlas just stops writing. Mage?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just yammering. Oh, but you never did ask the proper way to receive a book from the wall. If you simply hold out your hand and ask it for what you want, it'll give it to you. If you take from it, you may get something that's not quite fit for human consumption.
And does it give you any book or just specific books?
Well, admittedly, my collection isn't too vast, but it should help you with some things you want to know, at least.
Atlas is just gonna sit there, contemplating, looking at his hand. And then he holds out his hand, and he's asking for a book about, like, the past history of, like, events that occurred in the digital world that is similar to what's happening with him.
And as you do, a book will fall into your hand. And the title will be The Children of the Faewilds.
Atlas is just gonna look at the title, and then he'll start reading it.
And as you begin to read the book, and the caretaker of the cottage cooks dinner, I think this will be a nice, cozy time to wrap up today's session.
Oh,
Poor Atlas not getting traumatized. Having
and poor Rain for being traumatized.
Bye, Mushmon.
It's Atlas. What do you expect?
Fair enough. So, what did you think of your session compared to what everyone else that had to go through?
Somewhat underwhelming to what I was expecting.
Were you expecting chaos?
I mean, I was kind of expecting chaos, since, Atlas is the source of chaos. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
I kind of want to see where things go from here.
Well, that will be up to you and Rain next time. But until then, thanks for coming, everyone.
Yeah, come back next week.
Next week will be interesting. And...
Yeah.
Boop.